All right, what's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about hard mode Sanctum of Rebirth. So the big thing to note before getting into it is that the mechanics are pretty much identical to normal mode. The only notable thing is that each mechanic is augmented a little bit. So we're not getting any new mechanics in hard mode. Instead, some of the mechanics are going to hit an additional time, or that's basically it. They're just going to hit an additional time. So that's pretty much it. If you can do normal mode without taking any damage from the mechanics, you can do hard mode without taking any damage from the mechanics, which is really nice. It means that once you've learned normal mode and you're super comfortable with it, you're just good to go to hard mode. Now, I have my max gear here, just full First Necromancer, Death Guard, and my Essence of Finality, using a Scripture of Full, which if you're not comfortable with the increased damage you're going to be taking, you don't have to use this. Scripture of Jazz, Scripture of Emasculate, Scripture of Wen, that's all fine. Scripture of Jazz is probably going to be your best bet. And then I'm using Occultist Ring. This doesn't have to be Occultist Ring. It can be Reaver Ring, although Reaver Ring is a lot worse because the last boss has a really high defense. It can be the other ring, Zorgoth's Ring. It can be just a Luck Ring. It doesn't really matter all that much. So yeah, we're also wearing a Zuk Cape. And inventory is pretty similar to last time. I'm bringing a Blessed Flask just because I like Blessed Flask. I'm also bringing runes for Disruption Shield. I don't really use Disruption Shield all that much, but it's mostly a panic button in case I make a pretty bad mistake. Same thing with Prism Restoration. Because I am bringing a Hellhound, Prism's just here to make sure I'm a little bit safer and make sure my Hellhound doesn't die. Also bringing a Power Burst of Vitality. This is going to be a lot more important on the third boss, largely because the third boss, when it does the Magic Bomb attack, instead of hitting once for 10k, it hits 3 times. So you typically devotion the first Magic Bomb and then reflect Power Burst the second one. So that's the main reason we have the Power Burst. But yeah, that's basically it for the gear setup. We're just going to jump straight into it. So not really going to do like a full mechanics breakdown again because that was in the normal mode guide. I'll link that in the description. I'm just going to show what's different. Also, I'm going to be actually hitting the boss. So if you have this gear, you'll see what your kills are going to look like. And you'll see that it's really not too bad, especially the first 2 bosses. I would argue that the second boss is pretty much identical in terms of difficulty. For your aura, I've been liking Equilibrium here because you don't really care about critting as much. If you don't want to use Equilibrium, then you can use Vampirism, you can use Penance, you can use Majorat, you can use Dark Magic. Those are all fine. I like Equilibrium. It's my favorite one. So I like to split soul right at the beginning here, but it's not necessary at all. So we're just hitting the boss as normal. So here, when it does its spikes, instead of doing 1 spike, it's going to do 3. And also, all of the dragons are spawned in already. So instead of them spawning once you phase it, they're just all here. In my opinion, it's not worth killing them. So I just tank the damage. Hellhound helps out a lot with that. So because there's so many of these crystals here, what I like to do is just threads so I can get a bunch of souls off these crystals. Then we go and pick these up. Also, these bombs fall a little bit faster. So just be aware that you don't have as much time to actually catch them. So you see it summoned Scarab. The Scarab has 1.5 times the health. You do take quite a bit of damage from this first boss just in auto attacks, so just be aware. This is the main reason that we're using a Hellhound. This boss hits really hard. So now, once it summons the powerful bomb, we just barricade, and the main reason we're using barricade is that it's 2 bombs instead of 1, so that's a lot of damage that we don't want to take. But yeah, that's the first boss. Again, this is the biggest step up in difficulty in my opinion, and it's because you take so much damage from the auto attacks. Pretty much all the damage you're taking is from auto attacks. So if you're uncomfortable soul split flicking, that's totally fine. Just don't use split soul and you'll be like totally fine. Okay, so now let's just get into the second boss. Again, second boss is going to be pretty much identical. The only difference between normal mode and hard mode of the second boss is 1, the health increase, and 2, whenever the boss does the grid attack, instead of 1 grid, it's going to be 2. Whenever the boss does the box attack, instead of 2 boxes, it's going to be 3. Now, you have a lot of options for how you can deal with the boxes. In the normal mode guide, I said that you can step out and then step back in as soon as it says something. That's really good. Another option you have is just using reflect and then eating. That way you don't lose any damage. Another option you have is standing still on the first one and using resonance, then stepping out, then stepping back in. You have a lot of, you can also use disruption shield. You have a ton of options with this. So yeah, I just figured I would say that because there isn't a one size fits all for this. You can deal with it however you want, and I think it's really cool. But again, besides that, the boss is very, very similar. So I'm going to dive onto this spot here. I like this spot here because it dodges both of the first 2 boxes, which is really nice. So we're just soul split flicking him here. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We're going to freedom. And then I like to target cycle Death Guard spec here. And then, yeah, we're just going to kill it the same way we did last time. We're going to step out. Step in. And then I'm just going to resonate so I can keep hitting the boss. And then I'm saving my residual souls for this next mechanic. So here we just Death Mark, Vuln Bomb the Pillar, and then Volley of Souls. And then I'm going to use my Omni Guard here. We're just going to go back to hitting the boss. I'm going to circle to this side of the boss because it's going to summon scarabs, and the scarabs spawn closest to the pillar that's left alive. Okay, I'm an idiot. Actually, no, it did spawn closer. Okay, so we got the line attack. The line attack is a little bit bigger in hard mode, so just be aware of that. Okay, I meant to dive out, but I just didn't do that, so it's fine. Not a big deal. I believe he's going to stun me here. Yep, he is. So we're going to freedom, target cycle Death Guard. Now, if you'd like, what you can do here is you can Threads of Fate the shards. Personally, that's felt like a lot and like not something I'm interested in doing. But I have heard people say that that's a valid strategy for them. So I figured I would just say it here. Okay, so now we're on the last phase. I like to just go all in and do a living death rotation here. Using Divert for Adrenaline here. Okay, we're going to Freedom, Target Cycle. The Divert basically didn't matter because we got stunned anyways, but it's fine. We'll just Skulls here. And yeah, again, same exact thing as normal mode. If you're used to normal mode, this is going to be pretty much identical to you. You're not going to even notice a big difference. Okay, so now we're going to head to the last boss. I'm just going to rebank because my health and prayer are low. Okay, so I'm a griefer and died on the last attempt, but we're going to play serious now. We're not going to die for content. But yeah, so now we're at Nakatra. This is the third boss. Her mechanics are going to be identical to normal mode. The only difference is that whenever she does a wave attack, it's going to send out 2. This is every instance that she sends out waves. So when she does, like in phase 3, when she does the 3 grids, wave into 3 grids, that's going to send out a second wave as a third grid is spawning. So just be aware of that. Besides that, her magic bomb is going to be a 3 hit instead of a 1 hit. This means that you need to have your defensives ready every single time it comes. Otherwise, you're just going to get executed. It's 10,000 magic damage every time. So what I do is, just like in normal mode, I devotion the first one, reflect the second one, devotion the rest of them. The only difference is you want to reflect and either debilitate or power burst in hard mode. If you don't, it's going to be a lot of damage. It's not going to kill you, but it is going to be a lot of damage. So just be aware of that. But yeah, besides that, fight's exactly the same. So we're just going to get into it. Also, make sure you use your Invoke Lord of Bones here. It is very good because she has very high defense. You'll see as soon as the fight starts, I only have like 86% accuracy against her. Yeah, I have 85%. So Lord of Bones is very good here. I was unfortunate, had a dead click, but not a big deal. So now we're going to get the wave attack again. You'll see it's 2 waves. Now we're getting the grid attack. A little bit late on that surge, but not a big deal. So now she's doing her second set of magic bombs. You'll see it's going to hit me 3 times. I'm going to put my Lord of Bones back on so that I can get a little accuracy boost. This should get me to 100%. Now we're just doing Living Death rotation. Making sure I'm stunning these guys. Movement was a little sloppy there, but it's all good. We're just going to build Adrenaline now. Prepare for death. We're going to be using Devotion here. And now we are just building our stacks because the cats are going to be spawning at 480k. And we want to be ready for that. Okay, so also, just like with phase 3, this phase is also going to have 2 waves. So you really want to be ready for this. Don't want to be getting ambushed by it or surprised by it. So we're just using an Omni Guard spec here. Okay, she's going to drag us down to the underworld. We see crocodile and camel. I think that is a camel, right? I guess that's like a jackal, right? I don't know what that is. Okay, so we're going to click on the one that's not crocodile or jackal. Okay, and then this time around, I'm going to show you a little bit different way of dealing with the cascade effect. It's going to be a lot more intense than the last time around, but it is very effective at making sure you're dealing damage. So as soon as this box fills up, you want to step forward, then you want to step back, and then you want us to step forward again. Again, super intense. I don't expect a lot of you to be able to get that on your first try, but it lets you keep doing damage here, which is really nice. Okay, so now we're going to get the 2 sets of waves. The second set of waves is going to be during the box. So you can see I had to have pretty quick movement there, but we ended up being able to do it very safely. Okay, so it's cat and it's guy sitting down. So those are the ones we're going to go for. Okay, so we go to pyramid. And now we're just going to split soul and we are going to burst. Step forward, step back, step forward, and there is your hard mode kill. You can do the stand under just like you did in normal mode, but if you want to put out just a little bit more damage, I highly recommend you doing this. Your kills go a lot faster. It saves you like 20 or 30 seconds. But yeah, that's going to be the hard mode guide. As you saw, mechanics are identical, just whenever a projectile comes, now an extra one. So yeah, hopefully this helps. I will see you guys in the next one.